All right. Well, we've kicked off the recording. Jim, are you ready to get going here? All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is week 6 in our 8-week Extraordinary Lifestyle Entrepreneur Challenge, and we're excited that you're here. We've got Jim out in Orlando, Florida. He's walking the halls of the hotel place there that he's staying at. He's at the National Speakers Association convention. Welcome, Jim. His internet's a little bit spotty, so I don't know if he's going to hear me okay.
2,000 of my closest friends at the National Speakers Association annual convention known as Influence 17.
Awesome that you're here, Jim. We're going to be talking today about how to increase referrals and build an extraordinary team of referral partners. Talk a little bit more about the power of referral partners and your 40 years of experience.
Lord, since I started speaking full-time back in 1976, I tell you, there have been really a number of turning points, and each one of those is connected to a referral of some sort. One of the first ones was Joe Willard of Mass Mutual, who had hired me to do a seminar. And because of that seminar, he said, I'd like to have you come and move into our offices and be here all the time. And I said, I don't want an insurance career. He said, I know, but you got to have an office somewhere. You might as well office with us, advise us, and whenever you've got a speaking engagement, go off and give it. So I lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma for 6 years. And for 6 years, I had a penthouse suite with a full complement of services and staff at my disposal and 0 employees except the part-time secretary. It was fabulous. And Joe referred me, because of the work I did for his agency, insurance agency, he referred me to all 125 Mass Mutual agencies, and 30 of them hired me, and then the home office of Mass Mutual hired me, and that led to the whole financial services industry. So just one good experience that a client has with you can sometimes open a floodgate of opportunities for you.
Well, we've been going hard at it here for the last 5 weeks, going into week 6 here. And if you've missed any of this content, if you're just joining us for the very first time, just know that we do have all of the recordings available inside of our private Facebook group. You'll see that group down there at the bottom of the page. And we're going to continue on for 2 more weeks. And then we'll wrap this particular 8-week challenge. We'd love to hear feedback, and if you are participating in the Facebook group, we appreciate all of you who have commented and shared your progress updates, and we're going to continue to bring great value to that Facebook group, so make sure that you join that group if you're not already a member of the group, and if you're already a member, make sure that you keep it active by participating and commenting. Today is going to be a fast-paced webinar due to Jim's internet quality. We may have less of Jim today, but we're going to just go through a bunch of different strategies and ideas and tactics on how you can increase your referrals and how you can end up improving your team or growing a team of referral partners. We want to give this caveat, though, or we want to give this little warning here that we do not want you to do everything that you hear in this webinar. We're going to give a lot of ideas, and it's going to be fast-paced, and there'll be a recording. We'll provide the slides inside of our private Facebook group, but what we don't want you to do is feel overwhelmed and just think that you have to do all of this to be successful. 1 to 2 strategies can be extremely valuable to your business. So I want you to, for those of you that are watching live on the webinar, I want you to go in and just put in what percentage of your business is currently coming from referrals. Don't get too tactical or don't get too analytical on it, I mean. Just give us an idea of where you're at in terms of percentage. Are you 20% of your business comes from referrals? Are you 100%? Throw something in the chat message just to let us know who's with us today. And if you're watching the recording of this on Facebook, you can go ahead and put that in the chat message comment section. We'd love to see your feedback, even if you're watching the recorded version. But thanks everybody for participating. We'd love to just continue to gain feedback here. Jim, what are we seeing for results? Do you see any results come in yet? Let me pull that up.
I have.
Candy, that's...
2 of them say between 26 and 50%. One of them says 30%, that's Richard. and Jody 26 to 50. So
Right.
mine lately has been more like 50 to 75% personally.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate that, of course, that Speakers Bureau is counted in that.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, Jim, you've built a lot of trust and credibility over the years, and that's probably led to a high referability score. And that's what I like to have everybody kind of analyze today is that, you know, when you look at your current business model, the services that you're providing, would you say that you're providing a raving fan experience for customers, clients, and referral partners? I mean, if you were to look at A to Z, your process from the point of contact with a new candidate or from primary contact with a new referral partner, at some point from that point to the point where they do business with you or while they're doing business with you, are you providing some sort of a wow experience that's really getting them excited about wanting people to refer people to you? And I'm going to throw up just a simple little graph or just a simple little assessment that I developed that helps you to identify areas of improvement. So when we look at your referability score, look at these different aspects of your business. Now, if you're an individual business owner, independent consultant, and you don't have staff, then you would be the staff. But when it comes down to you and or your staff, maybe there's some outsourcing that you're doing. What's the level of experience? Now, obviously, if you're brand new in your business, you're not going to be as experienced as Jim Cathcart with 40 years of experience. But when you look at your current level of experience, friendliness, is your staff well trained? Are you well trained? How would you grade your business from a scale of 1 to 10? And then how about customer service? When you look at your customer service, what you provide or what your staff provides, and again, you may have a larger organization, you may have to do a little bit more due diligence to kind of research and find out where there may be some areas of improvement, but your referability oftentimes is directly correlated back to your ability to be timely in your responses, how well you advocate customers. You know, when it comes down to communication, do contacts know what you do and how to refer you? Some people may have done business with you, but they don't understand that you work by referral and that you value referrals. So they may have used your services or bought your products, but they don't understand how to refer people to you in the best possible way. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do your customers or clients or referral partners, how well do they know how to refer people to you? 10 being you're doing extremely well, 1 being not so good. How about your marketing materials? You know, you only get one chance to make a first impression when it comes down to your business cards. Do you have the flimsy ones that just don't have a lot of weight to them that maybe have been done on a home computer? Or are you doing things in a professional nature? Flyers and brochures can be done on the cheap, but oftentimes it can become, you know, perceived as cheap. And so people may not refer you to their affluent customers or their affluent friends because they just see you as being a cheaper provider. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you grade your referability in the area of marketing materials? How about customers, clients, and referral partners knowing specifically how to refer you? In area of communication, you may have communications going out like emails or note cards or some sort of a distribution of information where this is just more of an understanding how to refer you. So you've got one aspect of the business being communicating to people on a regular basis, so maybe sharing a video on Facebook and encouraging clients to share the video, or passing along an email newsletter. Do they know how to share that newsletter? How about your website? When you look at your website, is it up to date, or is it back in 1990s? I mean, these are some things that we can all probably say, yeah, we could all improve a little bit. But when it comes down to it, when you add up all of your numbers, where do you stand? Are you an extraordinary service provider? Are you an extraordinary lifestyle entrepreneur? Or are you in a position where you could probably use some improvement? I know going through this, I could see some areas where I could say, you know what? To make myself more referable, I would need to improve a couple of things. So where do you stand today? What are some things? Maybe take a little note off the side of your sheet of paper and just jot down a couple of those areas that you could maybe spend some time on and dig down a little bit deeper. One of the things I found to be extremely valuable. Go ahead, Jim.
Let me interrupt for a second. You stimulated a thought. I often ask my audiences, how many of you, well, let me frame this differently. How many of the people you know well, like your closest friends, your closest family members, how many of the people that you know well outside of work could accurately describe what you do for a living? How many of them could accurately describe what you do for a living? And how many of them get it, why that's valuable to other people? Most
Right.
people answer that, gee, I don't think they could do a very good job, and I'm sure they don't get it, why it's important to other people. So there's a huge opportunity for us in referrals just to inform the people we're talking to every day with more about our business. But be careful, because one time I decided to spread the word more clearly to my family and friends. And one of my family members, a cousin of my wife, sent me a note and said, stop sending me your promotional emails. And I said, the reason I'm sending them to you is not to sell to you, but to keep you aware of what I do. So if you want me to stop, I'll happily do so. But if you just look at them as news about what I'm doing, then, I hope you'll find them valuable. He said, oh, okay, keep on sending them.
Yeah, oftentimes it's the communication, right? They say that the definition of communication is the result or the outcome that you get. And so, if you are having family members and friends that are referring to you in an unmatched way, so, Jim's a motivational speaker, but Jim is also very astute in relationship selling. So if they're promoting Jim as a motivational speaker to people and not talking about the fact that he is a peak performance trainer and a peak performance coach and speaker in many different areas, such as sales and motivation and relationship selling for that matter. There would be a potential way that they would be able to introduce Jim to friends and family members that they didn't know about prior to that. So, I love the phrase that says, don't step over dollars to pick up dimes. And oftentimes we spend a lot of money marketing to new clientele or new prospects or new referral partners before we've really even taken the time to educate our own staff, our own family members, our own friends, our own current clients. I found that having a checklist was a great way for me to be able to understand how to be able to deliver raving fan customer service. And this would be something that would move through. This is when I was in the mortgage business. The customer service checklist was basically giving me points along the journey where I could end up wowing people. And it was also making sure that nothing fell through the gaps so that I could become more referable. And that in itself had increased my opportunities and becoming more referable by some of the top financial planners and other people in the industry. And I've taken those principles and I've helped other organizations do the same thing. And this is just simply saying from start to finish, what would need to happen to make sure that I delivered the most amazing experience to my clients so that they would feel compelled to refer people. So let's go ahead and take those concepts and move off to the side and say, okay, that's just a few things that we can do to become more referable and to create more of an experience that's worthy of referrals. Now let's talk a little bit more about building referral partnership. Jim touched on this earlier. The reasons of why to build referral partnerships is because they can become extremely valuable. Jim, you've built a lot of trust over the years because you showed up. You've also done some things for other people that were kind of a scratch on their back to earn the scratch on your back. Talk a little bit more about some of those relationships.
Well, one of the things that a friend of mine, Nito Cobain, says, and I love this, he said it just yesterday from the main stage at the speakers convention here. He said, he was quoting someone from long ago. He said, give without remembering, receive without forgetting. In other words, be a grateful recipient. Be the most gratitude-filled person that anyone ever referred something to, and not in a gushing sort of a way, but in a meaningful sort of way. Just make sure that when you thank somebody, that it's not about saying thank you, it's about getting them to feel thanked by you. And when they feel that you're really a grateful recipient and you're humble enough to, to be that openly filled with gratitude, then they'll refer more business to you. When I come to the National Speakers Convention, I spend the whole convention doing things for other people and then taking notes as I sit in on all the sessions. And it's the things I do for other people that get the mileage. I obviously benefit from the sessions as well. But I had a guy on the plane the other day flying here to Orlando from California. He said to me, "You strike me as a really nice person." I said, "Well, what a nice thing to say. Why would you say that?" He said, "Well, when we got on the plane, you helped that woman put her luggage in the overhead. And I saw you pick up some trash off the floor when you were walking to the restroom. And, you just seemed to be genuinely eager to help." And I thought, well, that's cool, because I didn't do any of those for recognition. I just did them because they seemed like the thing to do at the time. So people
Yeah,
are
becoming the
always
kind of person. Becoming the kind of person that people want to refer you to or refer people to is obviously a big part in this whole journey. And we're going to talk now about the idea of actually identifying referral partner prospects. So a referral partner is somebody that, think of it this way, if you could end up putting 4 different people out into the marketplace who spoke on your behalf and spoke highly of you, and they were trustworthy pillars in the community, who basically gave you opportunities on a consistent basis because they were a raving fan of the services or products that you offer to the marketplace. Who would be those 4 different categories, or what would be those 4 different categories that you would maybe want to pull from? For Jim, it may be speaker bureaus, it may be meeting planners, it could be the area of corporate executives or C-level CEOs and business owners. But what are your best
fellow speakers?
Yeah, fellow speakers could
your
become
own competitors. If you compete in a good-spirited way, respecting each other instead of a cutthroat way, trying to cut each other out and make it all about money. If you compete in a collaborative way, even your competition will often refer business to you. That's happened for me.
Yeah, I love the question that Jay Abraham, the famous marketing genius, said, who stands to benefit more than you than if they refer their clients to you, they look good, right? I mean, if they were to benefit more than you by referring their people to you. So how would that look? Well, a physician that refers a patient who is in need of health or weight loss that refers to a health coach, and that health coach helps that patient to get healthier, that doctor actually looks like a hero to the individual patient because they gave them a great referral. A speaker could potentially refer out another speaker to one of their top clients that's on a different topic than maybe that they speak on. And that speaker is now seen as a potential consultant, somebody that can be a trusted source of information. So that person may get booked for future opportunities. So there's a significant number of ways that you can be thinking about people who could benefit from referring you. But just think about who are those categories off the top of your head that would stand to benefit more than you by helping you become more successful in referring people to you. And I'm going to help you to go through this process. Let's just talk a little bit more about prospecting for potential referral partners. This is just a simple spreadsheet that I had set up and I had used many different times, and I've shared it with other entrepreneurs. And when I was working in the mortgage industry, I ended up working with a lot of accountants, financial planners, attorneys, insurance agents, and I even had top clients. And so I had 6 different pillars, one of them being a general one, and then the 5 other ones I just listed. And I was thinking about building a depth chart. Every sports team that has a number of players on the team usually has a depth chart. They have their starters, they have their backups, and then they have their rookies, or the people that are growing into a starting role or competing to become a backup. So when you think about your referral partners, who are those 4 different categories, or what are those 4 different categories, and then who are the top contacts that you would like to put into position? If you don't have anybody that's going to be playing a key role right now, you could simply just start writing names down as candidates in these different areas. You can also use this as a data collector. You can end up starting to talk to your current clients or customers and asking them, who do you do your taxes with? Who do you do your legal work with? Who do you see for a physician? Who do you see for a chiropractor? Who do you use for, and just simply ask them who they're currently purchasing services from. And that could be a great warm introduction because that client or friend or family member could introduce you to that referral partner. You've also got things like the Chamber of Commerce, and you could go through the Chamber of Commerce directory. Usually those are, organized and categorized based upon specific titles. So you might just go through the local Chamber of Commerce directory to find some people's names, and then you can audit them by talking to some of the people in your community and saying, do you know Jim Cathcart? Do you know Bob Jones? What would you say about them? Because again, as a referral partnership is a partnership, and you don't want to be partnered up with a bunch of crooks. And so if you have heard other negative stories or people around you that you trust and respect are not fond of those people, you'd want to make sure you do due diligence before you got into a strategic referral partnership. Leads and networking groups, those are other areas that you can use as a way to kind of collect contact information, meet people, and just get a chance to get to know them before you really go into a deep referral partnership. Also, local chapters of associations. So Jim is out there at the Speaker Association National Convention. Other types of similar types of associations are out there for your particular business or industry. Going to those and just doing a little bit of data gathering could be a great way to just visit an association or to become a member of an association. Jim has been a member of the National Speakers Association for 40 years because he's seen the benefits of networking, and he gets a lot of referrals from key people that he has decided to connect with. Another way of doing it is just to simply have a form. If you have a client tracking system that you're using, you could use a form or you could use a computer to be able to track individual information. So, if you're looking for necessarily who the individual's insurance agent is, while you're doing some client work, you could just simply be data gathering. This may not all happen during one particular client meeting, but over time, if you were asking questions such as who is your chiropractor, who is your travel agent, who are people that, again, are in the business of maybe working with the same types of clientele that you are, who you would like to build a referral partnership with, and this can be a great way to get that warm introduction from somebody that's already doing business with you that can speak, trust, and edify the services that you do to another person that they're already purchasing services from. So you can use that client or that referral partner as a door opener to other potential referral partners. Once you've identified your referral partners, it's important to understand how to approach them. This is not one of those things where you're going to want to go in there with the idea of getting referrals on the very first conversation or the very first meeting. You want to develop rapport with those people. You want to schedule a one-on-one appointment. And remember, you don't need them. You're interviewing candidates for your team of strategic referral partners. You're not looking to get referrals from them. You're looking to potentially give referrals as much as you're looking to get referrals. Now, you may say, well, I don't have any referrals to give to a physician. Right now, you may not. But what if you were actively being referred by a physician? Would that change the way you thought of that physician? Probably. So you may be starting to build a relationship with a third-party referral partner only to begin to be able to open up doors of opportunities so that you could refer people to them. Maybe you could do some joint marketing. Maybe you could introduce them. Maybe you could feature them on a webinar, feature them in a seminar, feature them in a joint event. Those are some things that you can do after you've had a chance to identify who those key people are. Referral partnerships are not done overnight. It takes time to build trust. So, if you go in there with the mindset of me, I need to get versus give, you're probably not going to have a great success rate with developing referral partnerships because they're going to see through you and say, this person is just in it for themselves. They're not really interested in what I have to offer, or they're not interested in what they can provide me. So I go in with the approach of, how can I help you? How can I bring more value to you? And in that model, they're seeing me as somebody that's an advocate or somebody that's going to give more than they're going to get. And that starts a great relationships for referrals. The next step is the idea of identifying problems or problem identification. Once you've had a chance to identify who your prospective referral partners are and you've approached them with a value-first mentality, now it's the idea about identifying problems. And so a simple document that just gives you some simple questions, and we'll post this document inside of our private Facebook group for everybody to download, but just an idea of how you could begin to interview people. Harvey Mackay, who wrote How to Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive, that's a great book that talks about the Mackay 66. And what he talked about is when working with his key clients, he would collect information. He had 66 different questions that he would try to get answers to, and it would help him to build a stronger bond with that person. Now, he didn't have this document out and he wasn't interviewing them, but every time he made a phone call, every time he had an email, every time he was face-to-face in a networking meeting, he would try to find out information about that person. What was their favorite sports team? What was their wife's name? What were their kids' name? What would they really want to be? What would they want to do? What would they want to have? And simply by relationship building and asking questions skillfully and listening carefully, you can get to know this prospective referral partner and really understand if this is somebody that's a good match for you, but also you can develop a great friendship. And remember that people refer people to people that they like, not necessarily the person that's the best at what they do. So think about, in a real estate environment, there's really great real estate agents out there, but oftentimes the great real estate agents don't get all the listings. The person's friend does, or the person's loved one. They don't necessarily go to the person that is the expert. They go to the one that they like or that they love. So how could you develop more relationships where you are getting more relationships that people like you, or they absolutely love you because of who you are as a person and what you've brought to them, and the fact that you're constantly bringing value and you're asking questions to them. Great book that I read a while back. This is an oldie but goodie. Came out into the 90s, but it was called Networking with the Affluent. It's a classic written by Dr. Thomas Stanley, and Dr. Stanley talked about, he also wrote the book, The Millionaire Next Door, but he talked about ways that individuals that wanted to network with affluent people that had, decision-making powers, they could end up filling these 7 different roles, and I'll just go through them quickly. These are the 7 different roles he talked about fulfilling, and so, coming into an affluent person, looking at a way where you can improve their revenue if they're a business owner, or improve their revenue if they're a well-to-do person that's looking for saving ways to save money or ways to increase their potential income. These are ideas, these are introductions, maybe they're connections. If a person is an employer, maybe there's a way that you could help get the word out. If they're looking for a top salesperson or they're looking for a key employee, maybe you could help them to get the word out about a staff opportunity or a job opening. Mentorship is different for each person, but maybe, being a mentor in your particular area, if you're a health coach or you're a business coach or something like that, you could bring information, you could bring education, you could really help a person to understand your particular niche, and you could be seen as a mentor. Advocate, if somebody is, disgruntled, one of their customers is disgruntled, you could be in a position where you could stand up for that person, or maybe be a communication filler where you could actually fill in the person that was maybe bad things were said about, or maybe an experience that wasn't ideal. I had situations where I would have a referral partner that would refer me a client, and then that client would actually say negative things about the person that referred them. And because I knew that person and because I wanted to be an advocate for them, I didn't badmouth them and say, oh yeah, they're a bad person, let me find you somebody else. I tried to mend that relationship. And to some point, I even lost a client because I stood up for that real estate agent or for that financial planner or that attorney. And giving up a client to maintain a referral partnership was a good investment in my mind. Publicist would be, a person that ends up helping you to get your name into the marketplace. So joint advertising, joint seminars, maybe somebody gets an award and you take an ad out in the newspaper and you congratulate them, and they wonder who took an ad out to congratulate me because I received a recognition or a rank advancement. Or if you're, opportunities for connecting people. The term broker means being a good connector. Maybe other people in the community that you can connect them to for a better deal on their computers or their phone system. So if you're a good networker, you can be a good broker and you can connect people to the people that you are receiving referrals from or who you want to receive referrals from, so you can bring them value before you ask for value. Purchasing agent, that could be something as simple as if you know something about the internet, somebody wants to buy a computer. I work a lot with physicians, and I work a lot with entrepreneurs, and I can help them to make good decisions about products or equipment that they're purchasing because of some of the connections that I've made through the years. So these are great ways to build that rapport and to build the opportunity to help solve problems for referral partners. Step 4 is once you've had a chance to identify the problems of this potential referral partner, maybe they would like to grow their business. Maybe they would like to get the word out to more people. Maybe they would like to have a better retention rate of their current clientele, and you could do something to help them in that regard. That's where you really start to present your services as a goal or as a solution to their potential problem. So in terms of what you would deliver inside of a presentation, I typically recommend that when you're meeting with a referral partner for the very first time, that you don't try to deliver your presentation on the first appointment, and that you don't ask for referrals during their first appointment. Make a second appointment. Take the information that they've given you and don't make the ask. Make the next appointment be the ask that you get. So when you're actually finishing up that short networking phone call or that first lunch appointment or coffee meeting, you can say, you know what, I really appreciate you spending some time with me. I'd love to follow up this discussion with a second discussion to talk about how we can uniquely work together to help one another to grow our businesses. Would that be something that you'd be interested in? And if the person's interested, schedule the appointment while you're at that appointment so you can move a person to that next step. And when you get that next appointment, it's going to be where you are actually delivering your value. You're actually telling them about your unique selling proposition. What do you do in the marketplace that other people that are like you don't do? What's the value that you bring to the marketplace? Do you have something that's different than other things in the community? Do you have something that's unique about you and your background? So if you have, your own personal mission statement, I talk a lot about helping people to design and live extraordinary lives as lifestyle entrepreneurs, and helping people to achieve their goals. That's part of my mission statement. And I also have a whole bunch of testimonials of people that I've helped. Now, if you're brand new into your business, you may need some help with testimonials, but it can be testimonials that talk about your character and the fact that you've delivered on time, that you show up on time, you do what you're going to say you're going to do. Anything that can add credence to your background or your experience would be a good testimonial to have. And anytime you bring a testimonial, you're going to have a chance to earn the respect of those people, even if it's just a small amount, because they don't know what that testimonial necessarily means to them, but it's people out there that have documented their own words to say that you're a quality person to refer business to. Having a brochure or business cards would be great. Those are things that are make it a little bit easier for people to refer you, but I encourage people to actually set up specific marketing strategies, such as, could you pick out 5 people from your database who you think would benefit from knowing about what I do and how I do it? And if I did this thing, could we potentially do a strategic introduction to 5 people about each other's services? That's a simple marketing strategy that most people are willing to think about doing. Or, maybe your business is a larger ticket item, so maybe, 1 or 2 people could be a simple ask that you could make inside your presentation. But asking for the opportunity and creating a next action is imperative to actually moving a person forward and developing a referral partnership. This is the part of the approach that I did when I gave my presentation. I would add my referral partners to my strategic partner list. And this would be something that I would give to prospective clients and current clients and to other referral partners. So I was constantly connecting people to people, and I was constantly bringing value to all parties, giving my current clients or prospective clients the names of quality professionals that they were going to be needing services from, as well as bringing value to those referral partners. And oftentimes it was perception. It wasn't necessarily a lot of people picking up the phone and calling these people, but because I went out there and I gave this presentation and I showed this resource, people saw me as being a credible resource and a credible place to refer people to. So we've talked a little bit more about the prospecting, the approaching, the needs analysis or problem identification. We've talked about presentation. So now it's about overcoming objections. And you're going to get objections. You're going to get 3 types of objections when you ask people to refer people to you. And there's the sincere objection, the insincere objection, and the hidden objection. And I'll just go through these fairly quickly, and then we can wrap up. But a sincere objection is a person that says, I really don't have anybody that needs your services. And that's actually something that could be true. You may have to help that individual to understand how to refer you, because they sincerely may not understand how they could refer people to you. And it could be simply through education that you can end up overcoming that objection. But there's also the fact that people just don't know what they don't know. And so you're just going to have to spend time with that individual. I've found that I've taken some people that are not very good at referring and taught them how to refer, and they've become referral partners for life. But I've also found that people that actually refer people are oftentimes the ones that are doing all the referring. Teaching people to refer is, a great honorable thing to do. And it's, sometimes it's valuable, but finding people that are already referring people to a particular person, maybe to a competitor of yours, and teaching them why to refer people to you, that takes a little bit longer, but it's a little bit more valuable than just trying to take somebody that doesn't really have a lot of referrals to give and teaching them how to do it, in my experience. An insincere objection is somebody that actually is just kind of waving you off. I don't have anybody to refer you, but they know that that's not valid. They're just trying to not necessarily spend a lot of time with you, or they don't want to feel like that they're compelled to give you a referral. You have to work through those insincere objections, and you have to find out, what really is holding them back from, having a conversation with you. And your ability to overcome these objections and barriers is going to dictate how many referral partnerships you build and how valuable those are. There's also hidden objections, which sometimes a person will say something to you that's insincere, or it's sincere, but it's not necessarily the real objection. So they say things like, I don't have a lot of time right now. That may be a sincere objection, but the hidden objection is, I've heard about you and you don't do a good job, and I don't want to meet with you because of that. That may be the hidden objection. So, it could be time, it could be cost, there could be a lot of different reasons of why they're not wanting to work with you. These are just some examples that I've experienced, people that give objections that are typically sharing back to me. They're already happy with their current source. Your rates, your cost, your fees, your program are not right. They want you to cut your commissions, or they want you to cut your price to refer people to you. Maybe your company's reputation has got a bad name in the marketplace, or maybe you don't have enough experience, or maybe it's the idea that they want you to pay them to refer you. And you have to decide what's right for your particular industry, but each one of these particular objections can be handled with a simple phrase. And that phrase is, feel, felt, found. So by responding to these objections with the idea of, I understand how you feel, Mr. Jones. I understand how you feel, Sally. Some of my best referral partners felt the exact same way. And then moving towards a point of benefit of why people should work with you. But here's what they found. Our service was actually better than what they were currently getting from the other competitor. The lowest cost on the wrong program or the wrong product is still wrong. So people oftentimes would say, your product is too expensive, or your program is too expensive. And I would respond to them and say, I understand how you feel. Some of my very best referral partners felt the exact same way, but here's what they found. When people were prescribing the wrong program for people, it was still wrong, no matter what the cost was. So what I specialize in is I specialize in understanding the needs of the individual client to make sure that they get put into the right program. And yes, we do charge a fair price for that, but there's a whole lot of people that are using our services that were using cheaper services before, but found that paying more and getting more was a better deal than paying less and getting less. Would you be open to exploring this further? That's a phrase that I've learned over the years, but it may be something that you have to pick up before you can overcome some of your objections. Step 6 is actually getting the referrals and moving people through this referral funnel. One of the things I found is that people that want referrals need to ask. You don't need to beg, but you do need to ask. And if you ask, you get. You don't, you won't. So following up with people. Hey, is there anything I could be helping you with this month? Hey, do you know anybody that might be interested in doing this particular program? We have a special program that we're currently doing. Hey, who is somebody that you'd like to add to your referral partner list? I'd love to be able to be, introducing you to people that are on my referral list or people that I've met recently. Are you looking for anybody? These little value-driven opportunities can help you to reconnect with some of your referral partners. Having new ideas and campaigns and programs that you can bring to people are going to help you to get more opportunities, but you have to bring those back to them and not feel like that you're a pest, but feel like that you're bringing a gift, you're bringing an opportunity, you're bringing value. And that could be something as simple as sharing a link to a valuable article that you think would be helpful to them, or sharing a motivating word or an encouraging word or a thank you note. Anything that you can do to build a relationship with that person is going to help you to generate referrals, because every time you add value, it's like depositing into an account that you can then make a withdrawal from when you ask for an opportunity. Another way to encourage referrals is to do a thank you letter. And so, doing a thank you letter to clients, customers, or referral partners. This is a 2-question survey that I highly recommend for people. It's just 2 questions. And if you can't read it, this particular one is for a chiropractic office, but first question was, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer us? Please circle a number. And then it said, if you would not recommend us, please explain so that we can improve our services. So 2 questions, and if a person was under a 7, they're probably not likely to refer. There's probably an opportunity for follow-up. And if a person was an 8, 9, or 10, you just treat them like a VIP customer or VIP referral partner, and you really do everything you can to wow them. Because if they're a 7, 8, 9, or an 8, 9, or 10, they're going to refer you. If they're a 7 or below, there's probably going to be one of those things where they're going to refer you when they have the opportunity to do so. Other things that you can do, this is an example of a chiropractic office, but do you know of anybody that's been ill or someone who's experienced chronic pain? Do you know anybody who did something that would maybe be in an accident and could maybe use our services? This is asking very specific questions to get very specific responses. Now, oftentimes people say, well, if I ask specific questions, how will I get an opportunity, because they may not know anybody with that particular issue? Okay, but if you don't ask something specific, it may be too general too. So if you say, do you have anybody that might need my services, that might be too general. But if you say something like, do you know anybody that just recently had a baby, because we're doing a special promotion for new moms, or we have a special promotion for people that just moved to town, that could be a very laser focused opportunity, and it could help the individual referring partner to laser their thoughts on maybe people that they're coming to mind that just had that experience. Referral-friendly events, educational seminars, those are powerful. Obviously, you can bring your referral partners in as guest speakers in webinars like this. Family and Friends Day, if you have a picnic, or if you have something that is going to be bring on balloons and clown or whatever, you could just bring things in and bring people to your establishment. If you don't have an actual office, you can actually bring people to a party at a hotel, or you can bring them to a park. But doing things where you're bringing people together so that they're reciprocating conversation and you're cross-introducing people, you can make that really fun and also write it off as a business expense and have a lot of opportunities come from that. The last step is to follow up, and most of you understand what follow-up is, so I won't go into great detail, but making sure you've got a next action and having a follow-up drip system where you're sending them updates, like Jim was saying earlier, emails, newsletters, follow-up phone calls, really bringing value to people on a regular basis. That's what's going to get you great referral partnerships. So if I could summarize some next actions, here's what I would tell you. If you want to build referral partners, start with developing your prospective referral partner list. Write down 10 to 20 names of people in different industries that you think would benefit from referring people to you and who you think you could bring value to. Refine your approach. What are you going to say to them? A simple phrase of, hey, Dave, I've been thinking about developing a referral partner team of people who I could refer my clients to, and you came to mind. I was wondering if I could sit down and learn a little bit more about what you do for a living and see if that might be a good fit for my clients or the people that I work with. That would be a very simple approach to just interview somebody. Do your needs analysis. Have some questions that you're going to ask. You can pull from the referral source profile form that I load up into our Facebook group, and then make sure you've got a good presentation. When you go out to talk to people, do you just wing it, or do you actually bring materials that are going to help you to present yourself in a very professional manner? Be prepared for the objections. Know the feel, felt, found script. Know what you're going to say if somebody says things that are going to be objecting to what you're asking for. Most people only have 5 or 6 objections to doing business with you. So if you can understand how to overcome objections and barriers, you're likely to get more business. Confirm the partnership by just simply, asking if this is something that they're interested in participating in, and ask for the business. Give value, bring value to them, bring referrals to them, even if it's just a networking contact. It doesn't necessarily have to be a prospective client. And then follow up and add value. I hope that today was an idea buffet. I hope that you got a tremendous amount of value from it. If you did, I'd sure appreciate your comments and things that you may share that you've had a takeaway from that would maybe be valuable to other people as well. So make sure you join us next week. We're going to be talking about expanding your business while improving your work-life balance. So I hope that everybody enjoyed today's presentation, and we'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Talk to you later.